הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, יא לה 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 לה. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, יא לה 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 לה. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, יא לה 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 לה. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד.
Hi, everybody. Hello. Let me tell you what an extraordinarily powerful experience this is. It's a little bit of the time warp for the Rocky Horror fans, not me, but and it is that you couldn't have chosen a better song. Hine ma tov u'ma na'im from the book of Psalms. Behold how good and pleasant it is when brethren dwell together. And I know everybody's been welcoming me home. I know tonight was billed as a welcome home. You need to know that I really feel like I came home. And those of you I've already seen and have known, and those who I have not yet met but will get to know one another, I am so honored and delighted that life has brought us back together. I'll say more about that later tonight, but it is just wonderful to see you all. And we're going to open our prayer books to page 120 as we welcome Shabbat with the kindling of the Shabbat candle. You can't hear me. I got that when I first came too. All right? I'm sure this is not the same sound system as when I was here the last time. Page 120. Mindy, would you do us the honor? Thank you, Tammy, for cluing me in there. Oh, here you go.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'chadlut ne'ashel Shabbat.
Amen.
Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the lights of Shabbat.
And Artie, would you do the honors of, you might want to unwrap the...
And there was evening, and there was morning the sixth day. The heaven and the earth were finished, and all their array. On the seventh day, God finished the work that God had been doing, and God ceased on the seventh day from all the work that God had done. And God blessed the seventh day and declared it holy, because on it God ceased from all the work of creation that God had done. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri hagafen.
Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei hagafen. Amen. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'ahavahu v'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom tefillah l'mikra'ei kodesh zecher letziat Mitzrayim kivanu v'chata eltanu kidashta mikol ha'amim Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen.
Page 124. It strikes me that the passage at the top of the page is very fitting tonight because I am feeling the generations that I have known here in this community. Would you read it with me? We enter this sanctuary to welcome Shabbat. Within these walls, we sit surrounded by numberless generations. Our ancestors built the synagogue as a visible sign of God's presence in their midst. Throughout our long history and our endless wanderings, it has endured. A beacon of truth, love, and justice for all humanity. Its presence guided our ancestors to lives of righteousness, holding up to them a vision of their truest selves. Now we, in our turn, come into this sanctuary to affirm the sacredness of our lives. May we enter this place brightness of Shabbat, let peace settle upon us as we lift our hearts in prayer. Turning the page. I begin with a prayer of gratitude for all that is holy in my life. God needs no words, no English or Hebrew, no semantics, and no services. But I need them. We need them. Through prayer, we can each sense our inner strength, our inner purpose, our inner joy, our capacity to love. As we reach each of us upward in prayer, may we sense these qualities in our Creator. Together, to love God is to love each other, to work to make our lives better. To love God is to love the world God created and to work to perfect it. To love God is to love dreams of peace and joy that illumine all of us and to bring that vision to life. Turn to page 138 as we turn to the words of Lecha Dodi. You know, the 5 years that I was here in Jackson in the 80s and early 90s, late 80s, was a gap in my life in a different way. It was a period in time where I did no travel to Israel. In the years since I left Jackson, I can't even count the number of times I have spent weeks on tours with groups, spent summers studying in Jerusalem, and visiting the holy city, 4 holy cities in Jewish life, the holy city of Tzfat, up in the Galilee. Tzfat is known as the city of the mystics, and it is where these words, Lecha Dodi, were written. In fact, on my most recent visit to Tzfat, a dear friend, colleague, and I wandered around the ancient cemetery, and we came across the burial site of Shlomo Alkabetz, who wrote these words, which we have all been singing for many of us all our lives. We're going to join together in welcoming the Sabbath bride. We're going to sing verses 1, 2, 5, and then verse 9, at which point we'll rise and we'll turn to the door through which we entered as we imagine the Sabbath bride coming to join us as we welcome Shabbat.
Lecha Dodi לקראת קהלה, פני שבת מקבלה. Lecha Dodi לקראת קהלה, פני שבת מקבלה. שמור וזכור ודיבור אחד השמיע. שימור תפארת וליתי לך, לך דודי לקראת קלה, בני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת קלה, בני שבת נקבלה, לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה כי מכל ברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה לך דודי לקראת קלה בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת קלה בני שבת
Top of page 139.
התעוררי כיפה אורך גורי אורי 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 שיר דמי כבוד אדוני עלי ניגע לך דודי לקראת קלה בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת קלה בני שבת נקבלה בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה גם בשמחה ובצולה תוך אמוני עם סגולה בואי חלה בואי חלה לך דודי לקראת קלה בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת קלה בני שבת נקבלה יא לי 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 יא לי 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 יא לי 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 יא לי 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 יא לי 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 יא לי 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 יא לי 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 יא לי li li.
Who's had a busy week? Who had a very quiet week? Well, it doesn't matter which kind of week you had. Most of you didn't raise your hands. I noticed that. That wasn't a hard question, I hope. But Shabbat is, like in music, the pause between the notes. The notes of one week ending, and the notes of anticipating a new week, turning the page. So let's take a moment. I invite you, if you wish, to close your eyes, or just lower your gaze, or just reflect inward. Focus on your breath for a moment, and feel the week that has ended. Pick out one or two highlights you want to hold on to. And at the same time, think of what you want to let go of as we now really welcome Shabbat and begin our worship in just a moment. Take a few moments. We are taught that entrances to holiness are everywhere. The possibility of ascent is all the time, even at unlikely times and in unlikely places. There is no place on earth without the presence. And we invite that presence to join us as we join in Chatzi Kaddish, page 144.
יתגדל ויתגדש שמי רבה ואלמד ברח רותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון וביומכון ובחייכו בית ישראל בגלה בגלה ובזמן קריב ויאמרו אמן Vishmei Rabba Mevarach Le'alam Almaya Yitvarach Vayishabach V'itvar V'idramam V'itnaseh V'itadar V'itale V'italal Shemei Kedusha Rechu Le'elim Min Kol Birchata V'shirata Tushbechata V'nechemata Daviran Me'alma V'meru. Please rise. Yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai.
Turning the page. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim b'chokhmah poteach sha'arim, uvitvuna mishane itim u'machalif hazmanim, misader et hakochavim b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono. Together on the top of 149, praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars, creator of the tide of time and light. You guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course through eternity. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim.
Mitzvotecha leolam va'ed V'hem hayenu leorech yameinu U'vahem nege yomam v'layla nege yomam v'layla Be'ahavatcha Baruch atah Adonai Ohev amo Yisrael Ohev Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Adonai Echad, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Bayeh. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Adonai Echad.
Please be seated.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להוד על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם, אמן.
The words of Professor Michael Walzer, Professor Emeritus at Princeton University, who I never really knew except that he was the father of one of my campers back in the late 70s and early 80s at the Eisner camp in Great Barrington, where Josh went to camp as a young man. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together.
Please join on the top of page 158 with Mi Chamocha. Mi Chamocha ba'elim Adonai, Mi Chamocha nedar ba'kodesh, Mi Chamocha ba'elim Adonai, Mi Chamocha nedar ba'kodesh. משה ומרים, זה אלינו ואמרו, זה אלינו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. מי כמוך באלים Adonai. Mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh. Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai. Mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh. Nora tehilot oseh vele. Nora tehilot oseh vele. Adonai yimlok leolam va'ed.
Together at the bottom of page 161. Give us a place to rest, Adonai our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, v'al kol amo Yisrael v'al Yerushalayim.
We join together at the bottom of page 162. Yismechu b'malachutecha, shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat, bekorei oleg Shabbat. Yismechu b'malachutecha, shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat, bekorei oleg Shabbat. Mekadeshei shevi Shabbat, kulam yisme'u יתקנו בחשבת, ישמחו במלאכותך, שומרי 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 שבת, וקוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו במלאכותך, שומרי 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 שבת, וקוראי עונג שבת. והשביעי רצית בו וקידשתו שבת. חמדת ימים, אותו קראת שבת. ישמחו במלאכותך, שומרי 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 שבת, וקוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו במלאכותך, שומרי 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 שבת, וקוראי עונג שבת. זכר, זכר למעשה בראשית שבת. זכר למעשה בראשית שבת. ישמחו במלאכותך, שומרי 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 שבת, וקוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו במלאכותך, שומרי 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 שבת, וקוראי עונג שבת.
In a moment, we'll join in the tefillah, the centerpiece of our worship. But before we do, on the bottom of page 165, I haven't led worship from this prayer book in 7 years. I've worshiped from it, but I haven't led worship. So I've missed some favorite nuggets that I grew to love over the years of this book's appearance, because I don't think this was the sitter when I left in 1992. In fact, when I came in 1987, there were those who thought that I took the Union Prayer Book away, even though that was my predecessor, Rabbi Bernholtz, about 15 years before I arrived. The bottom of page 165, I've always loved this piece. I didn't realize till just now it's the words of Langston Hughes, but it fits as an opening for our tefillah. In an envelope marked personal, God addressed me a letter. In an envelope marked personal, I have given my answer. we give our answer with these prayers. Please rise, page 164, and then we'll continue from there.
Adonai, Sephatai Tiftach, Uvi Agita Hilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol, HaGibor HaNorah, El Elyon, Gomer HaSasim Tovim, Ve'Gomer HaKol, Ve'Zoker HaSe'avot V'Imahot, U'Mei Gdula Livnei Bneihem, Emad Shimon Yahava, Melech Ozer Moshiach Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Ve'etzat Sarah. Atah Gibor Adonai, Mekayem et Imatav V'Oshiach, Morid Atah, Mekayem Hagim B'Chesed, Mekayem Etim B'Rachamim Rabim, Shomer Novim V'Rofeh Olim, U'Matir Asurim, U'Mekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Michamocha Ba'al Gevurot, U'Midom Elah, Melech Memit U'Mekayem, U'Mashgiach Yeshua, V'Ne'eman atah l'Kayot V'Tihu, Baruch atah Adonai, Mekayem Amen. Atah Kadosh, Shemcha Kadosh, V'Kedoshim Lo Yom Yadosasela. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
We now continue page 172 through 180. Silently choose your own path. The right side of the page, the left side of the page, the words of your own heart. Also choose whether you wish to remain standing or to be seated when you have finished.
after me. Adonai, Adonai, Suri, Suri. Together. Vego Ali, Adonai, Suri, Vego Ali. May the words of my mouth, and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, O God, my rock and my redeemer. Yehi you, Lerat song, back to the top. Yehi you, Lerat song. Imrefi Region Libi Lefanecha Adonai Tsuri Adonai Tsuri Vego Ali Adonai Suri Vego Ali.
Do you know what a gift you have? Where were you since I left here? All those campers. Friends, let's turn to page 362 as we continue with Seder Kriyat HaTorah, the service for the reading of Torah. Assemble the people, men, women, and children, and the strangers in your cities, to hear, to learn, to revere Adonai your God, to observe faithfully the words of Torah. And let their children who do not yet know it hear, that they too may learn to revere Adonai your God. Please rise.
Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, u'devar Adonai Yerushalayim, Baruch shenatan Torah, Baruch shenatan Torah, Le'amo Yisrael b'hikdashato. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Gadol Shemo. God Iti Unromama Shemo Adonai Hagadol Abehagebur Abehatikeret Behanetzach Behahol Kiko Bashamayim Uba'aretz Kiko Bashamayim Uba'aretz Adonai HaMamlaka Lamitz Na'aseh Lechol Lerosh. Al Shlosha Devarim Ha'olam Omed, Al Shlosha Devarim Ha'olam Omed, Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha דברים העולם עומד על שלושה דברים העולם עומד על התורה ועל העבודה ועל גמילות חסדים על התורה ועל העבודה ועל גמילות חסדים על שלושה דברים על שלושה דברים העולם עומד על שלושה דברים העולם עומד
Seated.
Yisrael ve'orat harinom Yisrael ve'orat harinom.
Earlier in the service, I think it was during Yismachu, I turned around to Eric, our president, and said, "Are we allowed to clap at Beth Israel?" I don't think we did, except at children's services when I was here. And I just turned around and said, "See, they clap." I'm not really going to comment on the Torah portion now because I'm going to comment on it in my remarks, but we are in the book of Deuteronomy. We are in the fifth and final book of the Torah. This is the third weekly reading in this book. And Moses is reviewing his life. And he is reviewing the journey of the Israelites from Egypt on their way to the Promised Land. There's so many resonances in this portion in particular for so many aspects of my experience here in an earlier time, my connections to this community. We'll talk a little bit about that in a few moments. For the honor of leading us in the Torah blessings over tonight's reading, I would like to invite our president, Yamod Ari ben Avraham Vasara.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMavorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMavorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMavorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen. This is what happens when you decide to read a different portion from what you rolled the Torah to last night. Amen. Kol hamitzvah asher anochi mitzavcha hayom tishmarun. All of these commandments, which I am commanding you this day, you shall keep them. La'asot, you shall do them. L'man tichyun urevitem, uvatem v'yorashtem et ha'aretz asher nishba Adonai lavotechem. In order that you may live and your numbers increase, and you will come and you will inherit the land which I swore, that God swore to your ancestors. V'zacharta et kol haderech asher holichecha Adonai Elohecha ze 40 shana bamidbar. And you must remember all of the path, all of the journey which God has guided you on for these 40 years in the wilderness. Lama'an anotcha lenasotecha, ladat et asher bilvavecha. And God took you in a manner that was going to try you. The desert is a place of trial and challenge and test you in order to learn what was in your hearts. Hatishmor mitzvotot im lo, whether you would keep God's commandments or not. V'yancha v'yarivecha v'yachilcha et haman asher lo yad'a lo yadata v'lo yad'un avotecha. And God made you feel pangs of hunger. And God fed you the manna, which you had never previously known, nor did your ancestors know. Laman hodiacha ki lo al halechem levado yichiyeh ha'adam. And here's a statement we hear many times in many different contexts. This is where it comes from. And this was in order to make it known to you that humans shall not live by bread alone. You know that saying. This is where it comes from, friends. Man, woman, people shall not live only by bread. Ki al kol motzei fi Adonai yichyeh ha'adam. For it is with all that pours forth from God's blessings, from God's mouth, that humans shall live. Simlatcha lo valta me'alecha, your clothing. Notice, it didn't wear out while you were wandering in the wilderness. There was no Costco to stop at or North Park Mall. I can only draw on the things that I've noticed so far. I've only been here for a few days. Vraglecha lo vatzeka ze arba'im shana, and nor did your feet swell up over the course of the 40 years. Yeah, I having trouble believing that one. Returning almost 40 years since I first came. V'yadata im lavavecha ki ka'asher yaser ish et beno Adonai Elohecha miyasrecha. And this verse, when I was preparing it earlier today, jumped out at me in a whole different way than I've ever seen it before. And you shall know with your heart that just as a parent instructs, guides, teaches their child, God will guide, instruct, and teach you. Yaser is the same root. Some of you may remember I was here in 2018 to do a weekend of teaching on material that I've been devoted to now for many years, the Musar tradition, which, let's just say, when I was here in the 80s and 90s, I knew the word. Almost nobody outside of a few corners of the Orthodox community knew anything about Musar. And that word is here too. God will instruct you, just as a parent instructs their child. V'shamarta et mitzvot Adonai Elohecha lalechet bidrachav uli'ir'a oto. And you shall keep the commandments which God has placed before you, walking in God's ways and developing a sense of awe of God.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. So before we lift up and dress the Torah, we call to heart and to mind the names of those of our loved ones, members of our Beth Israel family and our extended family, dear ones in Israel, for whom we wish the blessing of refuah, of healing, and shlemut, wholeness. Our thoughts and prayers are with Hal Bailey, Gavin Brannon, Lauren Rosenbaum-Brown, Bill Gotthelf, Zoe Gressel, Eric Herring, Jerry Jacobs, Harry Kolodny, Jerry Prince, Damian Riggs, Yolanda Henderson Riggs, Juliana Rovinsky Rojas, Art and Joyce Solomon, Rebecca Laskin, Michael Sawyer, Betty Shornick, Gilbert Solik, Alyssa Rubinsky Stein, Merrill Thomas, Sam Tucker, Danielle Waba, Catherine Weiner, and our dear ones in Israel, Gabriela Rubinsky At and her family, Shoshana Barum and family, Tzipi and Rafi Ben Tolila, Galia Bonet and their children, Miriam Britt and family, Jacob Korkus and family, Sarah Cohen Korkus and family, family of Alexandra Splar, Ron and Shlomit Granot, Ilan Gressel, Yonatan Gressel, Noam Gressel, Macy and Tamar Granot, Rabbi Stuart Clammer and his family, Sarit Ozeri and Renat McDonald, the Parker family, Francine Sherwood, Yara and Evan Wertheim, Alex Weitzman and family. Now surely there are other names who those of us who are gathered here are holding. I'm going to look through the congregation as my eyes cross your part of the community. If you'd like to say a name aloud, please do. If you prefer to say it quietly, feel free. And of course, names are going to collide upon one another, but where they need to be heard, they will be heard, each in their uniqueness. So we add to the names I have read. Judy Gervis.
Tiffany Herod.
For those we've named aloud, those we've named in our hearts, let us join together in the words which may be found on page 371, the words of Mishaberach L'Choli.
Find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misheberach imotenu mekor habracha la'avodeinu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Will you please rise?
Bezot Adorah Asher Sam Moshe Livnei Bnei Yisrael Al Pi Adonai Beyad Moshe. Ulu al eretz hashamayim
Turn to page 374. So again, Shabbat Shalom. So other than a weekend in the fall of 2018 when Laura and I returned here for a visit and I did some teaching, this is my first real time on this pulpit since June of 1992. Did I miss anything? Nothing? You all look the same. As I wrote in my August highlights message, I really am so honored to be back. Yes, the calls and inquiries I received 3 days in a row back in late February did come a little bit out of the blue. They were a surprise. But as we moved through the process, I think it was my oldest, Benjamin, who was born just hours before my first Yom Kippur here in 1987. That was the day that Larry Goldstein helped make us parents, bringing Benjamin into this world. Would you do this for any of your other congregations? No, I wouldn't. This community and you, the members, hold a very special place in my heart, in Laura's heart, and at least the 3 older children who were all born here at the Mississippi Baptist Medical Center. Seems to me they have changed a little since I left town. There are a few more buildings down there. So as I said before, we are in the final book of the Torah. Moses is reviewing and expanding on God's teaching, which Moses has been bringing to the people since Mount Sinai. In a Jewish sense, this is what we call the chatimah, the signature, the seal, for Moses' mission of bringing Israel out of slavery in Egypt, leading them through the wilderness, and ultimately bringing them almost to, but not quite into, the promised land. You know what a chatimah is, even though you don't know that you know that. Every time at the end of a prayer, we come back to the words, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, and then it's different for each prayer. That's the chatimah. It's the signature, if you will, of a prayer. Sometimes it's at the beginning too, but the chatimah is the end. Well, it was really interesting when it was announced sometime in March that I was coming back to Beth Israel and to Jackson. You can imagine some of the emails, texts, phone calls I got from friends and colleagues around the country. You're moving back to Mississippi? And a dear friend who I've known since my own high school youth group days, went to college with him. We've shared so much of life's journey, and he's a rabbinic coach. He called me and he said, Eric, this is great. This is your chatimah, your signature. You know, I wrote Harry Chapin's words. I only saw him once up at Tanglewood in the Berkshires back in the 70s before that horrific crash that took his life on Long Island. But yes, it's my chatimah. It's the closure of at least my pulpit career and in truth, my rabbinic career in large part. And there is no place better I can think of to take that part of the journey than here with you. So like our Israelite ancestors and Moses as their leader, reviewing their journey, you can imagine, yes, I was here last month briefly. That was not a happier visit, especially for some of you in this sanctuary. But now, this is the first of, at least as scheduled for the moment, 11 visits that I'll be making here. Truth is, I realized a few weeks ago, now that I've arrived on Wednesday, between now and, that first Tuesday in November, I'm not going to name it, I'm not going to dwell on that, I will spend more days in Mississippi than I will at home in Massachusetts. We've got Tabor Abeli's bar mitzvah to look forward to next month. Of course, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. Then I'll take a break to spend a little bit of the beginning of Sukkot with my family and then come back to finish Sukkot, Simchat Torah, and take us out of the holidays. And then I'll be here roughly once a month. Some of you who spoke with me over the months, many of you have reached out on Facebook, texts, emails, whatever, a few phone calls. And I've kept saying, as the interim rabbi this time around, I'm a placeholder. But a dear friend, classmate from rabbinic school, with whom I spoke the other day, who has been doing interim work since he retired from his pulpit, literally in Mr. Rogers' neighborhood, Squirrel Hill, not Tree of Life, thank God, but around the corner, said to me, Eric, you are not a placeholder. Literally 3 days ago, just before I got on the plane. Nor are you the vision for the future of this congregation. That I know, and I knew that, and I've been saying that to the board and those I've spoken with. You are, said my friend Rabbi Jamie Gibson, a hinge. With a hinge, a door can swing both ways. It can swing out, so you can look at the past and see what's been, and then it can swing out so that we can look towards the future. My role here with you this year is to be your rabbi, to help you process where this amazing congregation is in its journey, where you've been. I know things are not the same as they were when I was here. The world is not the same as it was when I was here. Mississippi is not the same as it was when I was here. And needless to say, and you'll figure this out, I'm pretty much not the same either. In fact, Ben and I were talking. I said, I did some of this when I was here. These days, it mostly amounts to like the wheels on the bus and Rafi songs with my grandchildren. But it is something I look forward to using in the community as well. So my goal is to help you reflect and consider, where does the journey go next? Jewish life and Jewish community are about as important as they have ever been for me in my lifetime. I want to repeat that. I grew up in a synagogue. My parents joined when it was time to send Eric, the oldest of their 3 sons, to Hebrew school, synagogue around the corner. We then left and moved to another synagogue. Those two merged. Our communities became one. And as you know, I've been on this rabbinic journey since 1983, and this was the second stop on my journey. Jewish life and Jewish community are about as important as they have ever seemed to me in my lifetime. Let's face it, friends, this year has been excruciating. It has been a challenge. From a high holiday season a year ago that never ended. Never ended. The closure that comes with Simchat Torah and Shmini Atzeret was cracked, smashed, destroyed with the events of October 7th. There are still, my mind can't really process this, but we all know, there are still over 100 hostages. I, for one, fear most of them, like the ones that were rescued earlier this week, no longer in the land of the living. The horrific conflict, the war, the divisions in Israeli society which preceded and have been exacerbated by this past year, the anti-Semitism that has, like a flood, come out of every crack and crevice really around the world. I thanked one of the people here guarding us. That was not a reality when I was here last time. I do remember some of that in my congregation in Massachusetts right after 9/11. I remember more of it. I had already retired from the pulpit at that point after Tree of Life in Pittsburgh. And now it is a reality in just about every synagogue I know and that I go to. And of course, closer to home, we have many divisions in our own nation and society. I have always been inspired by the tenacity of this congregation, founded in 1860. Sure, the numbers are not what they once were. Friends, that's true in a lot of Jewish communities. But I've always been proud to have been a very small part of the history of this community, and I'm thrilled to have the opportunity to reconnect, to review, and to also think forward with you and also with my family as I face the next chapter of my life. So what can we do together in a year where I'm popping in and out every month? We can, and I hope we will, learn together. We'll celebrate. We will support one another. Let's face it, we are living in very uncertain times. Who knows how what's going on over in the Middle East will end? None of us. None of us. And my dear friends and colleagues who live and work in Israel, including people I speak with as part of my Musar work many times a week, they're holding their breath as we are holding our breath, except that they're closer to the unknown of what might yet unfold. Preparing this community for its next chapter, its next phase of rabbinic leadership. There were, behind Sheila's desk, they weren't in that spot when I left, there were quite a number fewer pictures in the Rogues Rabbi Gallery. Took a picture of my own portrait, sent it to my family, I also sent it to my colleagues. I said, I haven't changed that much, have I? This is not a year of treading water. This is a year of living Jewishly, learning, celebrating, praying, supporting, facing whatever comes to us together. I look forward to meeting those of you I don't yet know. Something that became a very important part of my rabbinate in my last full-time congregation in Newton was meeting people for coffee outside the temple. I want to hear your stories. I want to hear your concerns. And over the course of the months to come, I hope we'll have a chance, all who would like to meet one-on-one or family on one. And obviously, I am thrilled, and it was part of why I said yes. Let's put it this way, I didn't say yes. I said I won't say no when the first calls came in. And let's figure it out. But renewing relationships, friendships, many of whom I've been in touch with over the years. We made 2 road trips with the kids when they were younger, my visit in 2018, and I am so grateful for the opportunity to bring so many of you back actively into my life and hopefully for me to be in yours. In the Torah portion, Moses is reviewing. I said that earlier. In this week's portion, he is retelling, it's a little after what I just read, the events at the mountain. Specifically, his descent from the mountain with the set of tablets, his discovery of the building project that the Israelites had undertaken while he was away for 40 days and 40 nights. The reality that the tablets got broken. Maybe in Torah study later this year we'll have a chance to talk about, did he smash them? Did they fall? What happened? And he has to go back up the mountain. First he tells Moses, nope. He tells God, I'm out. Take me out of the book. You find someone else to do this. Which in truth, I suspect at least one or more of the people who called me in February thought I might have said that too. And in chapter 10, little after what I just read, we read, God said to me, carve out 2 tablets of stone like the first and come up to me on the mountain and make an ark of wood. I will inscribe on the tablets the commandments that were on the first set of tablets that you smashed. Just like a parent, right? And then you will put them in the ark. Moses, you have to take responsibility for smashing the tablets. You need to carve the second set, and you need to build the ark to hold them. I'm not Moses, friends. Never aspired to that. But I find something powerfully resonant in the notion of a second go-around, a second set of tablets. I don't know what we'll inscribe on our tablets together this year, but we'll do it together. So let's carve and build over our time together. Let's plan, let me help you plan for the next chapter of Beth Israel's journey. And let us pray and learn and bring strength to one another, especially after the year we have had and the uncertainties before us. I reiterate, Jewish life and Jewish community are about as important to me as they have ever seemed in my lifetime. In fact, just 2 months ago, Laura and I took a step that was new to us. We joined our first congregation, dues-paying members. You know, when you're the rabbi, they give you an honorary membership. But we've kind of been bouncing around, and I teach in a bunch of places. And we said it's time for us to stand up as well. And we joined our congregation in the Berkshires, where I also help out with this, not with this, but with this. Thank you to everyone who played a role in laying the groundwork for our journey this year. I'm not going to get into names because I'm going to leave people out. There's time for that at the end, later, in June. But I pray that our journey together will be a blessing for you, my Beth Israel family. It's great to come home. And for me as I look towards my Chatima, which you will help me create. Together, may we go step by step from strength to strength. Shabbat Shalom.
Page 176, we find the words for Modim. We acknowledge with thanks that you are Adonai, our God, and the God of our ancestors forever. I invite you to join me if you want to find those words on 176. For Noam Katz says, Modim. Modim anachnu lach shatahu Adonai Eloheinu Eloi Avotenu Leolam Vahed Modim anachnu lach shatahu Adonai Eloheinu Ve'Eloi Imotenu Leolam Vahed Sur Chayenu Magen Yishenu Atahu Ledor Vador Ledor Vador Sur Chayenu Magen Yishenu Atahu Ledor modim אנחנו לך שתהו אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו לעולם ועד לעולם ועד לעולם ועד.
I loved John Paul, but I am so happy. And you took me on my own little journey tonight with the music you selected, Ben. You don't even know this. Since I left Beth Israel, many of the composers, all but one of them, who are contemporary anyway, have become friends in the years since I left Mississippi, including Noam Katz, who wrote that. I taught him at summer camp. His parents worked with me at Eisner back in the 70s. And now he's a colleague and a friend. So you have given me my own Moses Deuteronomy moment just listening to the music you've chosen. Thank you. And that goes with the next piece, page 587. Let us rise for what? When I was here last time, we used to call the adoration, the Aleinu.
Let us adore the ever-living God, and render praise unto you, who spread out the heavens and established the earth, and whose glory is revealed in the heavens above, and whose greatness is manifest throughout the world. You are our God, there is none
Please be seated. Page 595. It is hard to sing of oneness when our world is no longer complete, when those who once brought wholeness to our lives are gone, and naught but memory can fill the emptiness their passing leaves behind. But memory can tell us only what we were in company with those we loved. It cannot help us find what each of us alone must now become. Yet none of us are really alone. Those who live no more echo still within our thoughts and words, and what they did is a part of what we have become. We do our best to pay homage to our loved ones who have left us as we live our lives more fully, even in the shadow of our loss. That's not easy. Each of our lives is worth the life of the whole world. That's what our rabbis teach us in the Talmud. And each one is the breath of the ultimate one. In affirming the one, we affirm the worth of each one whose life now ended brought us closer to the source of life, in whose unity no one is alone and every life can find purpose. This Shabbat, we remember members of this congregation and the families of this community. Our thoughts are with the Stam family as they mourn the recent loss of Richard, and with Marcia Walsh as she mourns the loss of her husband, Mike Walsh. I'm going to share the names of those whom we are remembering in our records, and then invite those of you who are in the period of mourning or observing a yard site to rise if you wish and share the names of your loved ones with us. This Shabbat we remember, this week we remember Solomon Banks, Murray Benenson, Alan Bernstein, Joseph Bram Jr. I must pause for a moment and highlight the name of Irv Feldman, who was president of this congregation, who picked Laura and I up at the airport on July 5th, 1987, took us to the old-time deli to make sure we were fed, give me the keys to the car. Yes, in those days, the congregation had a car for the rabbi. What a dear man, along with Judy. Rebecca Fisher, Bennett Friedman, Raymond Jacobs Geiger, Alvin Layton, Meyer A. Lewis, Mary Lipsick, Max Leffelholtz, Celia Mermelstein, Byron Nelson, Saul Wolf. If there are other names you wish to share, I invite you to do so now. If I read it, just nod at me. Still learning, some things have changed. I'll add my father, Alan Gervis, who left us in June. I invite all of you to rise with our friends as together we offer words of thanks to the blessing of our loved ones' lives and the blessing of their ongoing memory. Page 598. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah. Bi'alma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei. V'chayechon u'v'yomechon. V'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala u'v'zman kari v'yimru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mivarach le'alam l'olmei olmaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal. Shmei kudusha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nechemata. Da'amiran v'yalma v'yimru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael. V'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav. Uyaseh shalom. Aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael. The source of peace and peace to those who mourn in our midst, bringing you comfort among the bereaved of our people Israel and among the bereaved of all humanity, as together we say, amen. Please be seated. Sheila? Sheila's been rescuing me since I took the position. I think Sheila has our announcement.
Shabbat Shalom. I do have a few announcements. We'll have Mertzi in the back here, and then join us for our welcome home dinner that we're having for Rabbi Gervis. Sorry, I have to put my eyes on. Join us tomorrow for Shabbat service at 9 o'clock, and Torah study follow at 10:45. There will be yoga tomorrow. Please RSVP to Elizabeth with the link in the blast. As of now, Refuge Meditation Group has gone on hiatus and will remain so until further notice. Religious school starts Sunday. We're really happy to have kids back in the building. Doubt and Discovery at Artie Finkelberg's house this coming Tuesday, please RSVP. There's limited spots. And the book club's book next month is A Red Tent. Most of us have read it, but it was at a different time in our life, so we're really excited about that. I know you've probably read it, so come and join us, and we talk about it. It's going to be on Monday, September the 16th at 1:30. And come help us celebrate with Tabor Ableys and his family on September the 21st. Is that right? Yeah. And please RSVP using the link in the blast. Please RSVP using the link in the blast and the pre-Shabbat blast and the highlights for anything you choose to attend. And as always, I admonish you, read, people, read.
So our closing song tonight, when Rabbi Rosen was getting ready to leave, Morris put together such wonderful words for that last service. And so tonight for Rabbi Gervis's first service, he has put together yet again wonderful words for a song just for this occasion. And if you know the song, which I know a lot of you probably will, make sure you sing a little backup there. Welcome back. Your dreams were your ticket out. Welcome back to that same old place that's been devout. Well, your names have been changed since you hung around, but those dreams have remained and they turn around. Who'd have thought we'd need you back here where we need you? Yeah, we got you a lot and we got you on the spot. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. We always could spot a friend. Welcome back. And we smile when we think how you must have been. But we needed a rabbi to help us pray. You answer the call and you save the day. And what could ever lead you? What could ever lead back here where we need you? Yeah, we need you a lot and we got you on the spot. Welcome back. We need a rabbi to help us pray. And you answered the call and saved the day. What could ever lead you? What could ever back here where we need you? Yeah, we need you a lot and we got you on the spot. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back.
Well, there's a tune I haven't heard in a while. I'm not Cotter. Thank you, thank you. By the way, you've given me a challenge. I've actually never read The Red Tent. Anita Diamond is a dear friend, and her husband taught her daughter. So maybe I just have to read that book and then show up for the book club, because I will be back around then. Thank you, everybody. Shabbat Shalom. Let's join in Hamotzi, and let's have Shabbat dinner together.